change, and it is absolutely deplorable to once again have a, whether it's a photo op, a vacation, I'm not really quite sure, but I just don't understand the necessity for 3 weeks when the students are here. They're here. What can you do for them here? What do they need? What are you missing? What are you failing at? And it's just, I mean, if this is the way that the new school committee is going to run things, then I'm greatly disappointed for our people. We're going to be pushed more and more into segregation, and you have a duty to represent these students here. And this is just, none of this makes any sense. So I don't know, are we going to see a whole bunch of other, $100,000 trips around the world when you can be doing stuff right here? Because they're here and they need services here. And they need staffing ratios. We've got, we have social workers working a couple days a week. These students need 1 to 250 ratio. We've been giving you statistics for years. You're having these students go from kindergarten to graduation, and you're not providing them.
3 minutes, Ms. Ortiz, please wrap it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you ding, ding, ding. They're not getting free appropriate public education. So I would kindly ask that you don't do a trip with this many people, that you don't, and especially too, because I don't even think the school year is over, and it looks like it starts on June 15th. I think with the snow days we're going, out. But it's just another one of the, mystery decisions made in the dark that no one knows what's going on for the purpose of it. And I say that with respect. So I'm hoping that you instead do something for the students that are here in this district that need it, and perhaps stop the discipline rate, stop them dropping out of school.
Ms. Ortiz, thank you. It's been well over 3 minutes.
That's your, all right,
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
Sorry.
Thank you.
The ding, ding, ding would have helped.
Yeah.
Sherry Barboza.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Good evening. I did see this also on the agenda, and I realized that it was grant funded. I read it from 21, as you were saying, that it was originally talked about. It's a lot of people going. My phone died, so I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but I believe it was 15 people that are going. Superintendent Skinner is intending on going, as well as Mr. Lay. And I understand being culturally sensitive, but our people are here. Our people are in our city. Have we taken the time to go meet with them in their homes, or meet with them on a common ground here in our cities, in our communities where they are? We have a high number of Cambodians, and that's why you've presented that, in our city. You could attend multiple events. I'm sure there's plenty of people who would welcome you in so that you could become culturally sensitive here where you are, where the students and the families are, instead of leaving for 2 weeks and then still also having your vacation time available to you when you need to take it. One of the premises that other persons stated that our Superintendent Skinner was a great candidate is that he's an immigrant, and he's experienced what it's like being an immigrant. Granted, you're an immigrant from Ireland, you're not an immigrant from Brazil or from Cambodia, but we're all here, and we are not going to Ireland to see what it was like for you coming over here, because at this point, you're here. And we need to see how everyone is here. I appreciate you trying to understand other cultures, but the struggles are here for our students here, where the parents are working here. In Cambodia, it's a completely different scenario. It's not the same as it is here. This is where our families are once again. We have a huge migrant population that we just talked about that's being infused into our schools, and understanding their struggle that's happening right now is utterly important. The other point that I did want to make, that we're constantly talking about hiring. We need to focus on the recruiting and hiring of individuals that reflect our population at all levels. Administratively, our teachers, our paras, and our staff. This will help us increase our cultural understanding and sensitivity. 2 weeks for pertinent administrations to not be present and then be able to take their vacation does not seem appropriate. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Any comments from the members? Mr. Lay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had the pleasure to put this motion in. When I first got elected to the local school committee, I was fortunate to have the opportunity to go visit schools throughout the city of Lowell, and many staff who have gone to this kind of trip in the past, they have made recommendations that they learn a lot from taking that trip. What they learn from living in Lowell is not the same as when they go see what's over there, because the people living in Lowell it's different, and you don't really see what's going on until you go dive in and see what's going on over there. And some of them even quote unquote change their life when they come back. They could become better teachers. You know, the staff that I talked to, all of them supported me to encourage me to find a way to organize this trip. Teachers that I talked to from Stockloza, Merklin, Pine Arts, staff from those schools have gone. I'm sure there were more, but those are the only schools staff that they talked to, and all of them encourage that this trip is important for those who never been to Cambodia and for those who don't know about Cambodia. So when I made this motion, my intent was to aim for those who don't know about Cambodia and those who never been to Cambodia to experience from this trip. It is not a vacation. It is there will be work involved, and what I expect coming back from this trip is not an excursion. Believe me, it is an educational trip. When they come back, I was hoping that they could convey what they learned, what they expected, and turn out to be what not expected. Convey that to their staff over here, so that we all can learn something from it and make our school better. It's not about me. It's not about Cambodia. It's about making Lowell better. So we went, you know, and we that motion, when I made that motion, we did have staff come on to the meeting, talk in favor of it, and then it took time that we finally have the money in the budget for this year to go. So I don't want people to think that this is a vacation or a time to have an exotic place to go to. So I hope that that would clear up some of the questions that we have here. We went through a lot of processes to get to this point. You know, it's not easy to come up with this list. It's not completely what I want, but you know, you all have a saying what you all have a final vote on what to do, and I wish I can stay here to talk more, to answer any questions, but I did talk to the ethics, state ethics, and they recommended me not to involve in this discussion. So before the discussion begins, I'm going to recuse myself.
Thank you, Mr. Lay. Mr. Conway?
Yeah,
Authority.
just a quick question. Where is the, excuse me, where is the money coming from? Through you to the superintendent?
It's coming from the school department budget as directed by the school committee. Previous school committee voted and directed us to take the money.
Okay, it's coming from the school department? I see. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Doherty?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just wondering, we don't have a motion or a second. Should we still just be talking about it?
So motion by Ms. Doherty, seconded by?
I am not making a motion to
Is there a
support
motion
it.
on the floor to talk about it?
All right, for purposes of discussion,
By Ms.
I'll
Doherty,
make a
seconded
motion.
by Ms. Martin.
So I'd like to say that when this motion first came up, I do recall the motion. And if you look at the words, it says to do a feasibility study, the feasibility of doing it. At that time, I thought it was ill-advised, but I figured, okay, we could look at it. Because I know we have had trips to Cambodia. MCC led a grant proposal that was a Fulbright grant, that was a collaboration with Middlesex Community College and Lowell Public Schools. And there were high expectations about how it was going to come back, impact student learning. It did not come out of our budget. We also have had the Cambodian community here in Lowell for nearly 40 years. And I know I've been able to attend Cambodian rock opera, the encore dance group, several films. I know that we have a little high school teacher who put together American Voices, a book with students talking about their experiences. I know when we look at the enrollment information that 22% of our students coming in are Spanish speakers, 11% are Portuguese. These are the newcomers coming into the community. So I have great reservations about taking $100,000 out of our budget to send 20 people, I think 9 teachers, many administrators, many people making over $100,000 to go on a 3-week trip to Cambodia, especially not under the umbrella of like a Fulbright scholarship program where you know there's going to be a lot of accountability. I spent some time today thinking about what I would do instead with $100,000. And of course, right away, I went to the facility stuff, the window shades, the lockers at the Bartlett School. For 3 years, I've been trying to get that. Help with the STEM Academy overcost. We're looking at another $250,000. Those modules are going to be like $8 million for 8 classrooms. We have to really think about if this project even makes sense anymore for us. The Jeanne d'Arc building coming on, right? Mold mitigation throughout. These are just facilities, but then I started thinking about the students. How about a summer program for entering kindergartners who didn't get to participate in preschool? We could do that for $100,000. How about 80 Lowell High students get paid internships, $15 an hour, $1,200 over, the course of the semester, because many of our kids can't afford to do volunteer work to explore their careers. They have to do their after-school job. Or if we keep it to students, how about looking at real equity for our middle school students at the Bridge program who do not get transportation, despite how far away they live. They don't have a gym. I think they used to have a basketball hoop, but it got damaged during some city whatever, and it never got replaced. This request is unconscionable. And I would ask you, through you, Superintendent Skinner, were you planning to attend Cambodia for 3 weeks?
I was not planning to attend for 3 weeks. I hadn't planned to attend, but I was given the expectation that the superintendent ought to be involved, and I agreed to go for a limited time.
I think this was a plan under the former superintendent. And as I said, it was presented to us as a motion to do a feasibility study. And then it appears before us that the money was in the budget. I was not aware that there were $100,000 put away in the budget this year for this, but I can tell you, I can think of a lot of other ways I would prefer to spend it. Thank you.
Mr. Conway? Oh, get your hand up. Anybody else? Ms. Martin?
Thank you very much. I just want to add on, and I both appreciate and agree with my colleagues' sentiments around this. I do think that, having sponsored, by dint of a grant, we were able to send 10 educators to participate in this kind of a trip. That's great. I think that one of the key things that was in this initial motion was researching not just the feasibility, but the funding. It was looking at external funding to support this, recognizing that, and there are certainly grants that exist and things like that that could be brought to bear that are specifically meant to support this kind of exchange program. Taking it from our general fund, I think, is inappropriate. I think the timing of it also, I agree that while school is still in session, that's challenging to have 20 individuals from across the district, both from the, obviously the highest levels of administration, straight through with teachers whose classrooms will need to be covered. That doesn't seem appropriate to me. And I think finally, what I'm most concerned about is that what's presented to us is basically saying, doesn't give us any kind of standards or goals or any kind of backup that we require when we have students going anywhere. We ask them to provide us, we'll ask those individuals, whether it's a teacher or other adult, to provide us with what the standards are that school-based trip is going to address. And it's true when we send students anywhere in this country, it's true when they go on international trips. And they provide us with what exactly is going to be kind of accomplished in the trip. I think cultural immersion, absolutely, I don't dispute that there is great educational value to travel. But I do think that in terms of our priorities as a district, it's just not this would not be an appropriate use of general funds, and that, in order for me to be comfortable considering it, it would need to be external funds that were specifically kind of allocated and directed at this exact type of activity, whether that was from Fulbright Hayes or any other organization. I'd also say, just because the 100,000 that is apparently being targeted in this, I believe that was a combined fund, that also that line item wasn't just for this trip, that there were other things that were expected to be paid out of that $100,000. I don't have the budget in front of me, so but I do think that there were other things that was kind of lumped in with as a $100,000 charge, and now that full $100,000 is being allocated to this one single activity, which in my mind is not appropriate either. So I'm not comfortable supporting this.
Anybody else? Mr. Superintendent, what do you want to do here? You want to look for alternative funding, or you want to up and down vote on it?
Thank you for asking. I'm looking for school committee direction here, which I think means a vote, right? So if you're, some of you members have spoken very clearly, I'd like to follow the will of the body, and I believe that I've been trying to do so based on what had occurred in the past. If the committee feels differently or wants to effect some of the changes that you're asking for, I think I need a motion and a vote on that.
Motion was first and seconded, roll call.
So this is just voting the motion up or down, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Mayor Rourke?
No.
Mr. Bahu?
No.
Mr. Conway?
No.
Mr. Rossi? Ms. Doherty?
No.
Mr. Lay? Ms. Martin?
No.
6 nays, 1 absent.
Section 10, communications. 10.1, letter from the Board of Health. 1, registered speaker.